looking at what it means to be healthy black men in the black community. So they are here as part of a larger summit, a Good Health Summit, where they're looking at mind, body, and soul. So we know De La Soul, of course, as Trugoy the Dove, David Joclier. We know Maceo, Vincent Mason Jr. We know Pastanews, who is Kelvin Mercer. So we do know that Dave actually passed, but he certainly is very much a part of the group. And in listening to Cabin in the Sky and, of course, the rest of their catalog, you understand how and why he is so indelibly present. But for now, I'd like to bring out De La Soul, Vincent Mason Jr., and Kelvin Mercer to be in conversation, please.
Two, 1, 2. Salute, salutery.
Yep.
Two.
Salutations, everybody.
That's what you said in the beginning of Cabin in the Sky. I remember that.
1, 2.
Look, brothers, it's thank you for being here. Thank you for being here and being in conversation with us. I want to make sure that we get into kind of the brass tacks of looking at kind of the wave that brought you here in terms of looking at good health and what that means and all that. But off top, well, let me say this too. I had just asked you right before we came out here, you know, when's the last time you were at Morehouse? And you were like, we've been around Morehouse, but we haven't been here before. Yeah. And I think that is our failing. So I'm glad that we are able to have you here in this space because it's so important because of what you've meant to black culture, what you've meant to black men for you to be in this space in conversation with us firsthand. Certainly you've been in conversation through your art, but to be here firsthand, we thank you for that.
Appreciate that.
So let me ask you, who are you? Like, who are you? Who are you as a group? Who are you as individuals?
We're a new group out of Long Island. My name is Maceo. We're a group out of Long Island, De La Soul, Amityville, Long Island. And we just, my brother Pos would say it all the time, we just, some regular dudes with cool jobs, that's all, with some really cool jobs, you know. Regular cats with nice jobs. Yeah. Pretty nice jobs.
So how do you show up in the world being regular? Because it seems like you could be extra. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that has been important with respect to how it is that folks have appreciated and integrated your work into their living experience is because you all are regular. They can see themselves in you. Why and how are you able to do that? That might be kind of a silly sounding question, but it seems like you all could present yourself as so much more self-important than you do.
It could be, I feel it has a lot to do with us just being around each other and playing a part of the humbleness that we had to have in our own homes. You gotta understand, we come from an era of hip hop where there wasn't a VIP section and stuff like that. So it wasn't like things like that really.
It wasn't impressed upon us.
Yeah, it wasn't, yeah.
Television, VIP, none of that was a thing,
So if we were in the club.
The special guest line outside and all of that.
Yeah, if we were in the club and we saw KRS-One or whoever, they were like on the floor with us.
Yeah.
And then whoever's performing or whatever DJ's playing. So that aspect is funny enough, when we start traveling overseas in '89 is when we saw like, oh, like they got this VIP section.
Yeah.
But we was always like, we want to be out on the floor, whether you was just trying to just chill with everyone else. So, but it was just something for us that we just felt like as brothers, we just felt, being around the crowd was always the better thing. Like even down to just in the sense of like being from New York, but coming down to Atlanta, making sure that everyone was comfortable with our presence was better so we didn't get robbed.
That's real.
I'm being honest with you,
Yeah.
opposed to like trying to be so separate from someone, and someone feels like, yo, you trying to act like you this, and you from New York. So we just always was very personable,
Yeah.
and it just stuck with us.
Can you talk about how it is that you are, as regular guys with cool jobs? Obviously, there's an art. Your job is your art. You know, very few people are able to say that their job is their art. How is the art an extension of who you are? You all are 9.5, 10 albums deep. I don't know how to count the plug 1 and 2. Cabin in the Sky is the 10th album. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. So we have Cabin in the Sky. So we have 10 albums where you all are able to persist and have a cool job that is your art. But we know, in terms of looking at copyright and all the stuff that you did with your initial label and all that kind of stuff, you all could easily, or it seems like you could have more easily stepped out of your artistic and identity space to do something else that wasn't a cool job. What does staying connected to the art mean to you, and how is it connected to your identity? Why do you persevere? Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense. It's for me
I
personally.
think it's an individual flight.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Because it's hard for me to articulate it. I just feel like minds kind of attract each other. And so Dave, God bless the dead, he was definitely like that. Like, it was all about the art. Like, he didn't want to put out an album until it was like artistically correct in his mind. And so, I mean, we always just kind of just understood that, and we just pushed each other on for that. Like, it's about us creatively giving you who we are. Me as an individual, that always dealt with revealing to everyone this side of me that isn't maybe the coolest to talk about. You know, me being vulnerable, or me, you know, I had my first kid at Yana Monet, and like, what am I going to do? Like, that's how I would be writing my rhymes, and like, that was kind of like my superpower. And then,
Yeah.
so we all just really just had no problems with telling a story creatively about not just, okay, we see like the gods over here, Run DMC, they're doing this and they're doing that. We was just like, that's great, but that's just not who we are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the common, knowing that we had a common interest, you know, I think everybody had an individual flight to that common interest.
Okay.
Like you said, Dave's thing would be the art,
Yeah.
wholeheartedly. Posh would be whatever he's going through at that moment.
Okay.
It got to be. Myself, I was kind of robbed of my childhood. So these are my childhood friends. I actually got to be around and actually got to be, like, share my childhood dream with.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I was pretty much a father figure in my house.
Okay.
I got kind of robbed of my childhood. So business, structure, things like that was important for me, where Dave was feeling like if the art ain't right, it ain't coming out. If the business ain't right, it ain't coming out either.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
So there was a balance with that as well, you know, and just knowing we had a common goal for what we were trying to achieve just as people, and how we just connected. You know, we were like-minded in what we did. You know, we definitely opposite, you know, and people do say opposites attract, you know. But one thing I knew, the common goal was this thing that wasn't even called hip-hop yet.
Yeah.
It wasn't even called hip-hop yet. It was like, it's this thing, this rap thing. And we were just trying to cultivate it, and I knew it was something that spoke to everyone spiritually, because it was the thing that made us the most happiest.
So you talk about how it is that you all were very different, but had a common goal, right? I think especially in light of the space we're in at Morehouse College, where we center brotherhood, you all definitely are an illustration of what brotherhood looks like, right? And how it is that you all have been able to stick since you're kids, essentially. Do you all recognize, and I don't want for you to feel self-conscious or feel like I'm setting you up to gas yourself, but do you understand the significant role that you play within black culture, within music culture? Do you all get that? And I had asked, I had the opportunity several years ago to sit down with Pete Rock and to kind of talk to him. He's just a good guy. And in being able to go back and forth with you all, you know, I was getting ready to say before we came on stage, you know, oftentimes they say be careful of meeting your heroes because they have clay feet and you're not going to be as impressed with them as you might have been. But it's always so good to meet folks who you have a lot of respect for, who are just good people. Do you have a sense of what it is that your goodness has meant to the culture of hip-hop and to black culture overall?
Honestly, I don't think about that till the question is actually asked.
Yeah.
You know, I don't walk away. I never even came in this with thinking I would have. Put it like this: I'm starting to learn that.
Okay.
I'm beginning to learn that.
Yeah.
Through our loss, through you know, the new generation that's stepping up to us, discovering De La in this, you know, because our music hadn't been available for over 25 years due to the new medium and the new
Except
platforms.
for that time you guys gave it away for free.
Oh, yeah.
Except for the time we gave
Boy,
it for
did
free.
I jump on that. But go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Except for the time we gave it for free, but as far as the new generation is concerned, let alone the young black generation that's coming up to us feeling inspired, I'm starting to learn that sense of purpose now. Before, I just doing it, you know, and happy to be doing it, you know, and learned that I had a skill set to do such, you know.
Yeah, yeah. What about you, Urs?
It was just, it was always for us to never separate ourselves. And, you know, like, so if we were overseas and we were walking around in Paris, we would walk around. It weren't like we was waiting for SUVs to drive us places. Like, we would walk and just have the common, regular person come on the street and feel like they can approach us and tell us what our music meant to them. Or to have, even to this day, like a young brother or sister come up to us and be like, yo, like, I'm from this part of Africa that you may have never heard of, but my pops and my moms had your records, and that's how I learned about you. And that means everything to us, you know. So always having that confirmed or reaffirmed from these beautiful people who would just approach us, and you can have this quick dialogue with them. That is how I understood.
Yeah. And I asked that again because I think that we were talking last night a little bit about what it means to be healthy, right? And we were talking about getting sleep, right? Getting good sleep and making sure that that was a part of kind of our health routine. And it's something that I can divulge. I'm in my 50s, right? So in my 50s, you see how some things are really important to acknowledge and to understand. And so I present that to you in terms of your significance because I think that you all are taking on a certain responsibility. You all are here, you know, in support of the Good Health Summit that's occurring across in RAPAC right now. It was really important for you all to center health in all of its ways, right? Mind, body, and spirit. And so it seems that one of the things that you've always done is you've used your platform. I told you to hear me say that a couple of times today. You've used your platform to kind of push forward the greater good. As we're talking about good health, why is that something that's important? Why is that important for you to have some type of commentary on and or learn about with the audiences who would be, you know, enjoying your universe? Why is that something?
I mean, we started to see, as our career was blessed to go on, that we were losing our peers at an alarming rate. You know, I mean, I just remember when Big Pun passed, and it was like, you know, even before him, and this is not even saying that that's good at all, but, you know, you had, unfortunately, Tupac could pass or Biggie could pass, and this is violence. And then you have someone who could pass because, like, when you thought about it, it was like their health. You know, when you had someone from the group, the Fat Boys, pass, it was because of their health. And you started to see this more often. And let alone from our family, Tribe Called Quest, when Fife passed, it was just like you just start seeing this more often. And it was like, wow, like, this is health issues. Like, this is us now getting older. And, you know, I always tell people, like that movie Straight Outta Compton, where you see NWA running around on the road, like, De La Soul was on that tour.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like that was the Nitro tour with LL Cool J, and we were running around, we were young, and you're staying up late, and then, you know, after you stay up late, there's an after party, and after the after party, you go back to your hotel, and you order room service, and the next thing you know, you just ate a pizza, and then you go lay down.
Yeah.
At 4 in the morning to get up and do it all over again. Get up at, 6 to get on a tour bus to travel somewhere else, to just go where you needed to promote the tour that night, and then you're having, so all this is taking wear and tear on our bodies. And then you start realizing, like, wow, like, even the things that we ate that was unhealthy, once we start having kids, we're looking at our kids and they're eating unhealthier versions of the unhealthy stuff.
Yeah.
So just things we just start taking into to consideration, that we should talk about this, and we could talk about it in a lyric here, or a song here, and so to now be here.
Let alone changing up our own regiment.
Yeah.
Because being on tour, every night could feel like a Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
And those party favors, the liquor, all of that stuff is around. You need to pace yourself. You need to catch yourself. You need to realize, no, Monday is Monday and Friday is Friday.
Yeah.
Although the show may feel like a Friday, but it's Monday. And just getting better habits and a better regiment, and calculating things better.
So talk to me about, that's kind of the physical health, right? And kind of taking care of your sleep, eating right, and all that kind of stuff. But it seems that you're very intentional in talking about, and again, I think if we look at your catalog, you talk about the vulnerability that you all share, which is something that, I think you all gave a lot of black men permission to be, right? Without being considered as, invisible. Right? You gave visibility to, okay, I'm going through this type of relationship. I'm dealing with my baby's moms. I'm dealing with, I don't feel sick. I don't feel healthy. I feel sick. I'm dealing with parents and all this kind of stuff. You gave us a lot of food for thought in terms of thinking about not just the physical, but the psychological, the socio-emotional, the spiritual. How do those things play into your understanding or your appreciation for us to pay attention to health as well? Like, what does it mean to be psychologically healthy, or what does it mean to be spiritually healthy? Sometimes that overlaps, of course.
It's, like, think of music. The thing that we as a group always said is that there's so many genres, so many themes within the hip-hop culture, but one thing that we've always felt was missing was a balance. So you could have, it's nothing wrong with having Migos over here, but then you have this other group over here that could be talking about something different. As long as that, because you can understand where they're coming from, but then you may be like, but yo, like me as a young lady, I don't hear no one talking about this. Meg Thee Stallion's talking about this, Glorilla's talking about this, but there's no one down the middle that, oh, wait a minute, there's Rhapsody who's possibly talking about this, or Dolce talking about this. So that's all it is with our health as well. It was more than just saying physically we had to eat correctly, but you could be eating correctly, but mentally, like, you're going through these issues, you're around toxic people all day long, you're having problems with your job, you and your girl ain't right with each other. That matters too.
Yeah.
And then not taking the time from a moral standpoint, whether going to church or going to the mosque or wherever you go, to like let that go. When you're leaving all this inside of you, all it's going to do is corrode you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just important to focus on all sides of it, not just from a physical standpoint.
Yeah.
I started to see.
Absolutely. So do you think that you all would have benefited if you had, let's say you were speaking to yourselves now? Would you say, look, you got to cut back on this, that? I mean, being young is being young. How do you talk to, we're parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to talk to your parents. How do you talk to young folks who are at Morehouse College, let's say? I mean, let's not say. How do you say to these young brothers at Morehouse College, these are the things that you really want to consider in terms of having longevity? Because it sounds like what you all are talking about in terms of good health is, it's not just longevity, but having longevity that has some value and some resonance to it, right? So what would you tell young brothers now? Like, what are things that you might have cut back on, or something that you want them to be mindful of?
For me, it's always about self-reflection, looking at myself, especially when I see something on the other side from someone else that may be uncomfortable, disdain, disruptive to my spirit. It's something I'm just trying to learn from, to self-reflect on myself, because I try my best not to ever be judgmental. I think that's very difficult with the world that we live in.
Yeah.
But I try to, when I feel when I feel myself being judgmental, I'll reflect on myself because I know I'm not a perfect person. And we can easily look at someone else and tell them what they need to do in a certain scenario. But what do you do for yourself if that scenario approaches you? Because sometimes, you know, we can all have an opinion on what someone else could do when you see something happen in real time that's not your situation. So you have a more of a, I guess, objective view.
Yeah.
You know, but when it's yourself, you're a little frantic.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you don't really know how to think that through sometimes. You know, you go through a vulnerable state of not knowing.
Yeah.
You know, so I say spend some more time on self-reflection.
Yeah.
And I think that'll help you through a gamut of things, you know, because we'll spend more time on judging others. I think when we see something that's uncomfortable, maybe just like Michael Jackson once said, reflect on the man in the mirror before you get to talking about somebody else, you know.
Yeah.
Take care of self. Take care of self before you can take care of anyone else. There's no way you can take care of anyone else if you can't really take care of yourself. And I think with Black life especially, we're plagued with that. We'll do our best to take care of everybody else before we take care of ourselves, especially for the ones who got real deep compassion and love. You'll forget about yourself. You'll spend yourself will be so spent out because you done gave yourself to everyone else. And here it is, there's nothing to pour back into you. So you got to continue to really pour into yourself because you can't expect people to pour into you, especially if you're a person that's giving, you can't expect people to give you. You just got to know that you need to be self-aware, you know, so you can keep filling yourself up. Because me, I love helping people. But sometimes I help people to the point where I'm spent and I don't have nothing for myself. And I've done that numerous times, you know, and I have to find myself to build myself back up because for some reason I've had a calling to be able to help people. I like doing that shit. I really do. Excuse my French, but I like helping people, you know. But it
really French.
It can come to a point where it could be consuming. That's all I'm saying. It could be very consuming. Sometimes you could be helping the wrong person, you know. But at the end of the day, it's just who I am, and it's something I have to continue to do to keep self-reflecting so I could build myself back up to continue to do the work that I want to do.
So tell me this, before I do want to open this up for a few questions, right? But tell me this. I know that, and I don't want to betray any confidences because we've been talking offline and all that kind of stuff, but, you know, I think that the neon colors and the brightness, kind of the positivity that you all center can betray a life that is absent of any type of turbulence, right? So we know Dave passed. Certainly that was a hit if that's your brother since you guys are kids, right? You all are dealing with other things as well. How is it, considering your lived experiences? You could easily, I was ear hustling hearing you talk about how it is that you used to box, right? And when I shook your hand last night, I was like, hey, yo, the other dude that I shook hand like that and it felt like some rocks was Nelson Mandela. I was like, hey, yo, this dude is not playing around. But I'm curious about how it is that the hard times that you all have experienced, you've been able to transmute into the positives. This idea of being self-reflexive, this idea of being vulnerable, this idea of really hanging on to Dave's sister, I think it was, who said, look, you guys don't stop, you gotta go on, right? Because if you all stop, the Dave stops, right? How are you all able to kind of take those hits and continue to persist?
It's not easy. I mean, I guess for me, I've developed a way to want to immediately tap into what could be positive about something or how to positively help yourself through something that's going on that's disagreeable. It's not always easy at all, and like you said, we all can go through things, but I've just always been big upon not allowing what I'm going through to affect how I speak to other people during my day. And I just try to look at, well, what can I do to not act like this didn't happen, especially as something as devastating as losing. Dave was like a life partner, you know, so to lose him, a person who I've known since 4th grade, you reflect, you cry, but you start looking at, but what, you know, like at first, as I said, it was like, damn, Dave, like we was just almost there, like we was about to release all our music. We had battled the record company and we won. These 3 black kids, we won it. But now we lost you, and we were right at the finish line, right there, and you didn't. And so it was always like, damn, Dave. And then I just immediately went in her and was like, nah, thank you, Dave. Mm-hmm. Thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for being there as my big brother who whipped me into shape lyrically or told me what I need to understand. Thank you for being there for us. And then I just immediately just turned into that. I came to him and said the same thing, like, yo, we need to turn this into a celebration for his life. Mm-hmm. And it isn't always easy, you know, like any of us can sometimes see that on a TV and then you realize you lose someone, you be like, yo, I don't feel good. Yeah. And I don't want to act like I feel good. But for me, it was about understanding that I could acknowledge I don't feel good, but mentally I had to say to myself to release from my body, but I can get to a place of feeling good and understanding that his life was so dense that he did so much. He didn't live a life that was wasted. Yeah. So I could turn around this disagreeable feeling quicker. So I mean, I think that's what it was for me.
Yeah, you know? Yeah. It seems like you all really have adopted, not to sound cliche in the least, but to whom much is given, much is required. So it seems like you all have kind of recognized your art, your gift, your craft. You all certainly have, you know, ridden that, but you also have assumed a responsibility for that because of how it is that it's created a platform for you. So as you're talking about that, I don't know what sounds healthier than being able to be reflexive and then being able to be honest and vulnerable with yourself. And then say, okay, and then not only with yourself, but with community, and then say, okay, how are we going to get this? You know, how are we going to make sure that we push through?
Because my whole thing, too, which is a blessing to be here, is not to stand here on this stage. As I know, if I was a younger kid sitting there and looking at someone and you're looking to get answers, I always try to even it to let you understand that no person with a doctorate, no with this piece of paper that's saying they are the most intelligent, no one knows everything. So I'm even here to learn from you. And I say that to my kids some of my kids are here. And then whether my oldest daughter's sitting there in her 30s to, I got a 10-year-old, I'm learning from them. Yeah. And they teach me things. And I think that's a problem of the communication between, even in this art that we do, where the older statesmen will be like, because these young boys, and I'm like, but yo, you don't remember when we were 16? Yeah. And they were saying the same thing about us. That needs to be moved because understandably, man or woman has an ego. And if you start telling them that you're not this because you're younger, well, then you've now banished the level of communication that can happen between each other. Yeah. So I'm here to learn from you. This Good Health Summit, I'm here to learn about some things that I need to understand to help keep me on this great path that me and him is on, to keep our health where it needs to be. Yeah. You know, I don't have all the answers.
Word up. Well, thank you. Thank you for creating a platform where we can get the answers we need. I think that's so important. So let's open this up. Let's give about 10 minutes for questions. Kyrie, can you help with the mic? Because I think I just have one mic. Please make them questions, quick questions. You want to give thanks, but you want to ask a question. Question.
You got a question, Mateo?
Come on now. It ain't Crown Forum.
Mateo.
No, you good.
Brief with your intro, personal intro? We don't.
Good morning, brother.
Good morning, my brother.
How are you doing?
Good, man.
I'm Ashton Brandon. I'm a graduating senior psychology major from Flint, Michigan. I really appreciate y'all taking y'all time to be here. You two are living anthologies, man. And y'all are situated in a really unique position, both in your lives and in the greater culture, because y'all grew up with hip hop and y'all are still here 30 years later. And that kind of connects to my question, right? When y'all were first coming up, right, hip hop was seen as a young man's game. It was seen as something for the children, for the youth that were on the street just rapping to each other, dancing with each other, etc. And then 30 years later, y'all are dropping y'all 10th album, still is lyrically dense, still is conceptually heavy, right? And a lot of the artists and a lot of the larger artists that are still popular are 30 plus. My question for y'all is, what is it about hip hop and what is it for hip hop for y'all that has allowed it to not only come up with y'all, but persist in a way that the older people are the ones that are providing the most game?
Well, I guess, man, great question, man. Damn, word. We're the youngest genre, so we are beginning to experience our elder statesmen in this genre. And a lot of us, like you said, grew up with this. We had to grow up to even share this information with you. A lot of us still in the process of growing up because they've been indoctrinated that this is a young man's game and they're still acting like young men. You know, I don't know who put that in this. I think it came from a marketing side to try to promote something, to destroy something, so make money off something that's so great, but let's try to destroy it later because it definitely has a powerful move to it. To me, I see all these weird little chess moves, or really I like to say deceptive moves. You know, people like to make money off things they don't like. I've witnessed that in this business. They realize it's a force to be reckoned with. If we can't beat them, join them. But in the process, let's figure out how to destroy this, you know? And they've tried a lot of different tactics, and one of the biggest tactics I've seen them try is to make grown men feel like children. Or feel like they have to feel like children just to be a part of this particular genre. Look at every other genre. They all had to start somewhere, and everybody definitely started in their adolescent years, you know? Do we call Mick Jagger a grown child? I don't think we call him a rock and roll legend. So I think here it is. It's an epiphany I've had in the process of doing this album, you know, changing that narrative. You know, is hip-hop a young man's sport? Nah, it's not. It's not even a sport. It's a genre. It's a music. First of all, hip-hop is a culture. Rap is the genre. Rap music is the genre. You know, we only focus on elements of the culture, which is the lyrics and the beats. There's so many other facets of this. There's so many people who actually are more hip-hop, I would say more hip-hop than me, than don't even rap or make music, you know? So it's just something I think we need to continue to have this conversation, share this narrative, break down that barrier, because hip-hop has definitely been the most intelligent music that I think have been presented, has been the most brutal in honesty. Whether we like the message or not, it's been the most honest genre that we've experienced, you know?
Young lady.
Hi, my name is Kebra, and I just wanted to say I'm so thankful to be here today. Like, this is amazing. You guys have impacted me so much. Your music has meant so much to me. And shout out to my parents, because I feel like they really exposed me to real music, hip hop. But I went down my own rabbit hole in your musical catalog. And what resonated with me the most is just the love, the light, peace, like what you guys expressed in your music. And I just want to know, like, when you guys first came out, what inspired you to go that route in your music? What inspired the stories that you guys told?
Well, for us, just very quickly, like I was born in the Bronx. Mace is from Brooklyn. Dave was from Brooklyn. We all moved at pretty fairly young ages to Long Island, where we could be around just other ethnical backgrounds. You know, like we could have like this person from India, this person is from wherever they was from, or we have whites and blacks, and we all kind of communicated in Asians and communicated together. I think that all had a part in just showing that we didn't have to always just go to our corner, they go to their corner. We was at when we got to high school, we was at the white boy keg parties. They came to our basement parties. All that kind of just led for us to just not stick to one way of looking at things. So we loved what we were seeing from the rappers who was coming from the Bronx, or they came from wherever part of whatever project building they came from. But we just still felt like there was a way to like show you or give you different ways and themes and subject matter. And the thing was that in us even trying to do what we was doing, we could have like the kid on the street, he's sitting there loving everything we're doing. So like we knew like, okay, the tough guy likes it, the football player likes it, the white guy over there likes it, you know, so we felt like we could say these things, we could put comedy, and people would embrace it. So that's why we felt confident in still presenting that when we came out.
So you all, so that we can stop the formal program as close to 11:50 as possible, we're going to take 2 more questions before we sing the hymn. But then afterward, we'll be able to ask some more questions while they're here, okay? Does that make sense? So 2 more questions on the mic before we go ahead and formally end the program. And then we'll go forward with the rest of the program, okay? Thank you.
How y'all doing? My name is Lance Johnson Jr. I'm a sophomore cinema major from Charleston, South Carolina. And my question is, in talking about mental health and physical health, I'm a big man of faith, so I believe that spiritual health is vital to that as well. So my question is, what is the biggest impact in your journey that faith has made as you travel down this road of hip-hop being a culture and it being bigger than you? How has faith played a vital role in your journey?
For me, just really quick, faith has been big because like I had to go to church every Sunday. My pops would be like, all right, you can take my car, I was in Long Island, drive to Manhattan, go to the clubs, do whatever you want. But when you come home, you're gonna go to Sunday school and you're gonna go to church. So I would come right from the club, put on my suit, go, you know what I'm saying? So it was just always a part of me, and it was a blessing that my family understood that we were these young men, you know, seeing a world a certain way, but you was gonna still see it through a view of love, compassion, and harmony. So that just stood with me from the beginning. Like Mace could tell you, like one of the names he used to call me was the preacher man, because my pops is known as Deacon Mercer, and I was the junior deacon, I was the usher, like I did all that. So all that was a part of my faith, and that's why I really understood spirituality, and I tried to imply it in my music.
And brother, I grew up in fight or flight, so prayer was everything for me. I had to pray a lot. So, you know, God was there from birth. Seriously. You know, my life has been a hell of a struggle, you know. Pos feel like our documentary should start with my life. And maybe end where we start De La Soul. But seriously, I've been fight and flight my whole life, you know, and prayer is something I've always leaned on, always since a child.
Johanse Murray, professor of psychology here. So many questions so many things I want to say. I've been a De La fan since the Plug 1, Plug 2, Plug 3 pop whole era. I told Mace this years ago in Michigan when you were with Most. I saw when they tried to turn the mics off on y'all in Norfolk, Virginia at the Norfolk Scope. Yeah, I was there for that.
Gotta go now.
Been a fan that long, and I love everything that you all have done. Everything. So I could say so much. I usually don't try to take the students' time. So I'm going to ask a student-related question. Before I do that, rest in power to the word magician, True Goy the Dove.
No doubt.
Have to say that. Of all the esoteric and creative lines that you've had, one of my favorite lines is very straightforward but very, very powerful. If I wasn't making songs, I wouldn't be a thug selling drugs, but a man with a plan. And if I was a rug cleaner, I bet your pops would have the cleanest rugs I am. I begin my question with that because in this audience, you have a whole bunch of young men who are majoring in things, figuring out what they want to do. Some of them want to be rappers. Some of them want to be dancers. Some of them want to be actors, singers, all kinds of things that we don't major in at Morehouse. We don't have that major. But these are things that they really, really want to do. What advice would you give to them as they are figuring out their world? What plans should they be making? How should they approach the world that is coming up for them soon?
I mean, every path, well, first of all, I would definitely say that you should always feel that there is nothing that can't be in your grasp. And I truly, 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 truly believe that. I've seen it. I've seen the universe give me things because I either ignorantly believed that I could have it, and it came to me. Like, I never 1 minute thought that my group wouldn't be here forever. Like, never. Like, I was like, yeah, like, I'm whatever age I am. I'm 16 years old, and this David Bowie guy, he's still going. When I come out with my group, we're going to always be here forever. Like, so just always don't believe it, know it. Belief is like putting some type of faith in something you don't know. Like, you got to know it. Anything you want to do, know you're going to do it. Don't know you could do it. Know you are going to do it. And I promise you, the universe will start working and conspiring with you to give you everything you want. But you have to know it. Can't just say it and don't believe it. You got to know it. Just know it. Like how you know what clothes you got on. You know if you wanted to go to the bathroom. You know where that bathroom is. You see it the same way. I know where I'm going. I know how successful I'm going to be. I know what I'm going to do for myself and for my family. And I swear to you, you will get it.
And patience is definitely a virtue.
Yeah.
Learn patience. Because it's not going to come when you want, but it will come.
Yeah.
So, Kelvin Mercer, Vincent Mason Jr., thank you, Dave. Thank you all for the work that you've done for black people. I heard you say that to Dean Carter earlier. Thank you for the work that you've done for black people. Thank you for using your platform in a responsible way. Thank you for loving yourselves enough to be vulnerable and to share with us, and know that we love you and we appreciate you, De La Soul. De La Soul, everybody. Hold tight, hold tight. Let's do this one now, and then we'll do the others. Hold tight, hold tight.
What's up, brother? I like that dashiki.
All right, everybody, if you could stand up, join arms. Get that afterward.
Hey, man, we're going to try our best to sign autographs, especially for those who bought albums and whatnot. But let's do this Morehouse ritual. I've been looking forward to this.
All right, folks, right over left.
Your cap.
I do need to say this. Corey Smith, come on up here. Corey Smith is my brother. He came in with me. He was here in 1990, Morehouse brother. He's actually De La Soul's manager. He made sure that cats got here, and for him to be here with us means the world to us. All right, join hands.
Yo, I like that, y'all. I like that. I wish I went to college, man. I like that. I really like that.
Oh, yeah. Y'all, if you have time, if you could take a picture with us, if you want to kind of jump up here, we're going to take a picture. And also, all day, the Good Health Summit is in Ray-Pac. So from now until 4 p.m. this afternoon, you're welcome to come through there. Thanks, man. Thank you.
He said y'all to come upstairs. I mean, Dr. Murray, you could be on stage. Go ahead. I say get on the other side of Doc, in between the next pitch. What? I would say get on the other side of Doc. Why are they down?